We are live from Lemert Park.
Lemert.
Lemert.
I don't know what it is. I'm just giving you shit. From your beautiful home.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. How lovely it is to be here this evening. I haven't been here very often. I'm Amy.
I'm Cynthia.
We're 20-year besties and reality show enthusiasts.
I think more.
And more.
Yeah.
Why do you have to say that about
years.
us? Okay, and we thought what a fun little setup that we would just come and do this together, because this is what we do. We sit on the couch and we talk to each other directly like this in each other's faces.
And drink tequila.
Yeah, and drink tequila. And I have a cocktail.
And talk a lot.
Yeah, talk a lot.
It takes us an extra hour or so to watch the show because we pause so much.
Yeah, so today we're pausing live. We're going to pause and try to get through the show. Not that I know how I'm going to edit this, but we will figure it out. Okay, we've started The Bachelor. Do you have any follow-up from last week?
No.
I looked up the lone wolf tattoo.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. Yes.
So it seems to be a really popular tattoo, which makes the wolves not so lonely.
There's a pack of lone wolves.
There's a pack of lone wolves. They're everywhere, and I will actually post several of them in here. Have you been going back and looking at any of the videos?
Yes.
Oh, I'm posting images in there.
Yeah.
Now,
I love it.
Okay, good. So let's dive in. We find out there's going to be 2 one-on-one dates and 1 group date.
Yes.
And the 2 people that get the one-on-ones are Beverly and Carolina. And you had thoughts on that?
Well, I figured Carolina. I was not surprised, but Beverly, I was surprised that she already got a one-on-one.
She's somebody who's, if you would have been like Beverly, I could have put a picture to her.
I just remember her in that silver dress and her tatas. Like she's got a great tatas.
Set?
Yeah.
Good for her.
Rack. She's stunning and beautiful, but she hasn't got much airtime.
Yeah.
So I was a little surprised that she's already going on a one-on-one.
And then I'm surprised at Carolina because I feel like they gave her so much airtime last week after that lap dance, or basically what was a lap dance, that I thought maybe they would pull back. But I know, because I remember this from Colton season, that the Bachelor has to, like, they rate the girls, and then oftentimes whoever's at the bottom will get pushed to the top or in the middle. Like, they don't automatically give him his number one
Right.
date. Do you remember this?
Yes.
Colton started fucking with them and putting his... I mean, it turns out that he fucked with all of us. Good for Colton.
Well, it's fun. I was listening to, what is it, Cocktail Hour?
With Joe and Serena.
And they were discussing, and they were also really shocked that Alicia, or even though it's spelled like Alicia, that she went home because she had so much airtime.
Yeah.
So they were also very surprised, based on how much airtime she got, that she was already out.
And the same with The Bachelor, because I listened to that follow up.
Yes.
I don't listen to it before I do this.
No.
I want you to know. So I'm not stealing from anybody.
No.
They've got a lot of really different opinions from us.
Yes.
About what they think works and doesn't work on the show, and I'm wondering if it's generational.
Well, so did the Cocktail Hour.
Okay.
There was stuff that they didn't cover at all that I was really surprised. Like, they didn't cover it all when Allie Joe pushed Zoe. They didn't touch that. But they had some very different thoughts. Like, they loved Bailey. They said she was one of their favorites.
Huh.
And after the first show, she was our least favorite.
Bachelor, they love Bailey too.
Now she's growing on me.
I totally agree. Okay, I have a question for you. Grant is driving this Ferrari. He's talking about day trading. Do you think he comes from money? Like, what is his deal?
It's so... I think,
is he rich?
I think we've talked about it because, like, all the vintage cars and this and the it's the show. But there was talk about it in a way that made me think maybe he really does drive a Ferrari. And I don't think he necessarily comes from money. With his dad being an alcoholic. And
he did grow up in a single home. Like,
well, no, because they got married.
A single parent.
I mean, divorced later.
Okay.
Right? I think they got divorced after 30 years of marriage, but he was an alcoholic for most of it, is what it sounds like. I'm sober now, but the way they talk about him being a day trader and yada yada, I feel that maybe he does have a Ferrari.
Is that the only thing he's got? Do you know what I mean? Like, he spend all of his day trading money on getting a Ferrari.
Would you be impressed if a guy showed up in a Ferrari?
No, I would be absolutely the opposite of impressed.
Yeah.
Especially a guy wants a wife and kids. It's like, you got to get rid of a Ferrari and get a minivan, I guess. Right. I mean, he did say he has an Acura, also not a not nice car.
Right.
I mean,
it's not even a medium car.
But like, I want to see. No, it's not.
No,
I want to see where he lives. Like, let's see what his apartment.
Yeah.
Did he blow all of his money on his Ferrari and he lives in a studio apartment somewhere with no furniture?
And is it really his Ferrari or is it a show thing?
Yeah, we don't know. We have to get back on that. I
know.
had to ask you that. So then, because Grant on the first date takes us into his life, and they go to the Bachelor School of Finance, which was actually a super cute date. Funny. There's a comedian who I've never heard of, Hannah yada yada.
Hannah Brunner or something.
Sure.
Who looked like Parisa's sister.
She might be. Maybe that's
maybe
how they got on there. And then another guy, Daniel Lubeski, from Shark Tank.
Yeah. Well, he was a guest judge, but he's the founder and CEO of Kind.
Oh, of Kind Bar, of the food of the bars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've eaten a lot of those. I kept him in business. So this was a really cute date where they asked the women questions, and I thought it was going to be based on how many they got right, but we saw Zoe try to play the date like it was real, like they were real questions, when the other women were answering it as if, trying to be funny. And then what turns out is like whoever was funniest, which is kind of how it should be.
Yeah.
Like won the date.
Well, because Hannah, the comedian, was giving out Grant bucks. Whoever had the most Grant bucks at the end gets some kind of treat at the end, probably extra time with Grant or something. Bailey knew that Hannah was giving out the Grant bucks, so she was being strategic, and she's like, I'm going to make her laugh and therefore get the Grant bucks, where other people were answering them, trying to get the answer right.
Yeah, that's actually really good strategy.
Yes.
So these are my questions for you. Okay. When was the last time your credit card got declined?
Well, actually, the other day when I went to buy Beyonce tickets, but it was because they thought it was fraud. So I don't know if that counts.
Because the tickets were $12,000. No, $6,000.
But it wasn't because they thought it was fraud.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I had to do 3 different credit cards before a credit card didn't think it was fraud. Yes. How about you?
I overdrew my bank account 2 months ago, but I haven't had a credit card get declined.
Yeah.
Because we get this point later in life where it's like they give you enough credit.
Yeah.
When you're 50 years old, you've been paying your bill off for 30 years. They give you some leeway. But I have been late with my credit card bill the last 3 months, and just stupid, pisses me off. Because you call the third time and you're like, I swear I'm never late. And they were like, well, you were in December and November.
I had to set up auto pay because I usually am good.
Oh, I got to do that.
But I set up auto pay, and if I want to go in and pay extra, I just do that. Because that's why I wasn't setting up auto pay, because I like to overpay. So if I get busy, I don't forget.
All right, I'm doing that.
Yes.
I'm going to set up auto pay.
I recommend it.
That's where there's one thing that came out of tonight.
Just one thing.
Just one thing. Set up auto pay on your credit card. Your most risque purchase.
Oh.
Don't
you go first while I think about it.
I don't know. I've bought 147 vibrators in my life. I don't know. I don't buy very risque things. Sure.
I haven't.
147. I mean, 20?
Maybe 20, but no, not that. Yeah, no.
For a bachelorette party, I've bought anal beads for somebody that are just supposed to be a joke. That tells you about my sex life.
Yeah, I haven't bought that many. Couple, and then lingerie, I guess.
Yeah, is that risque?
Or maybe it was the thousands of dollars Beyonce tickets.
That's pretty risque. I completely agree. We know that Alex apparently has bought a butt plug, and Grant was like, "Oh, well.
oh." But he didn't seem. No.
He did not seem upset by it.
No,
let's
he did not. He did not.
Now, well, maybe you could talk about. Do you know how much your wedding ring was?
Yes, because I helped pick it out.
You did.
Yes,
yeah,
I did.
Do you want to say?
Sure. I think it was, if I remember right, I think it was $6,000.
Yeah, mine was too. Between I think the engagement ring and the wedding ring, I think it was $6,000.
I think my engagement ring was around $6,000.
Oh,
and my wedding band was like $2,500.
If I could go back now, I would just get a plain. But I have not worn my wedding ring in 15 years.
I will say you can't really. I love my engagement ring.
Put it up towards the camera up there.
I love my engagement ring.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Because instead of getting a little solitaire, sad, one little thing, I have that really cute.
Yeah.
I love my flower, and so. Yeah,
maybe mine's solitary and sad. That's why I don't like it. I forced Peter. I was like, "You have to go to Tiffany and pick out my ring," and because I had a thing with Tiffany.
Yeah,
That's what happens when you're younger. So before we go to commercial break, Bailey wins because she put all that fake money in her coochie in the win machine.
We skipped that though. So then after all the questions, they have the reveal of the win booth things. I don't know what the proper name is.
Sure.
And there's Grant Bucks in there. I think that's it, right? And they have the Grant Bucks in there, and whoever can grab the most Grant Bucks flying up in the air in the win booth with the ones they won from the contest gets the special treat with, and then Bailey wins.
Yes, and we assume that's extra time.
I'm assuming it's extra time.
Well, we're going to come back.
Speaking of time.
We'll find out. I know. We talk a lot. Okay, we're coming back from commercial break 2. We're up after the group date cocktail party.
Yes.
This was really cute. They bring Bailey a menu of things that she gets to choose, experiences with Grant to spend her Grant dollars on. So she gets a champagne toast for $1,000, a private dance for $5,000 Grant dollars, a t-shirt for $8.
One of his t-shirts that she can sleep
in. That's expensive.
And a trip to Paris with him for
$3 million.
Which she ain't got.
No, she ain't got that. So she chooses the shirt. Well, because she's got $12,000 to spend.
And dessert. There was some, but I don't think she read that off.
She did not read that off.
No.
But that must have taken the rest of her $5,000. Now, because the private dance would have been $13,000. If I were her, I would have been asking another woman there if I could borrow $1,000 just to help me out a little bit. I'm getting major friend zone stuff with them. I'm not into. There's no romantic connection there at all for me. And he goes to feed her something, and she's like, "Don't mess up my makeup." Then she says she ate a mini eclair, which wrecked her. I can only assume that means diarrhea. Like, what else does that mean? What were you thinking?
I thought she was crashed from the sugar or something. See, I think he was really excited to see her. So I felt like he was excited by getting to have that time with her because he's like, oh, she's really cute. And I think he smacked his lips a little bit.
He does that with every person.
I thought he was feeling a little bit. I don't know. He said he was hoping that to see maybe a more vulnerable side of her or see if it's a little deeper. And they were definitely still joking around. So I don't know if he got what he wanted from it, but they were laughing and having a good time. I didn't get total friend zone.
They didn't kiss.
No.
And he's kissed everybody.
Well, not everybody yet, but he's kissed a few.
And he sent some home that he kissed. Alicia was our prime example of somebody who we thought was going to hang around till the end, and she really didn't. And Bailey super cutely walks in with to all the women and is like, throw in the Hunnys, right? Is that what Ali Jo says?
Making it rain.
Making it rain. And then Zoe, I don't know, she is a bit of a buzzkill now. She didn't feel connected on the date or something.
So she starts getting upset talking to all the girls, and everyone's saying how great it is and what a great date and how much fun and blah, 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 blah. And she says, well, I actually didn't have a great time. And everyone's shocked. And
Debbie Downer.
Right? And everyone's like, what? And a few people are, why? Well, everyone's so naturally cute and funny, and that's not my element. When Bailey walked into, she was doing the rain thing, she was not happy. She's very competitive.
Yeah.
And so that did not fly with her. But then she gets upset because feeling that she's not naturally cute and funny. She doesn't thrive in that kind of environment. And Ali Jo got pissed, but of course she got pissed because...
Oh, she's from New Jersey.
Yeah.
What is that?
That is going to be the 2-on-1 date, I think.
Yeah.
But she's like, it's the Zoe show. So then I was like, oh, yeah, I guess that is part of it.
No, you know what she said? She said it's not the Zoe show. Like, this is Grant show, it's not the Zoe show, which I have a comment on.
So in that, she was kind of making it about her. But in some ways, I thought, well... maybe she's being a little vulnerable and showing some insecurity a little bit.
Like Bailey did in the last show. So actually for Bailey to come in, I don't think, and to rain on the dollars, like we spent the whole episode 2 with her crying from the moment she woke up to the moment she went to bed. Then she cried with Grant. And you didn't mind that because you said she felt vulnerable. So
I thought she was being vulnerable and showing a little bit more of, I don't know, not being such a show. And so I actually liked it. I thought it humanized her a little bit more. It made her a little bit more real, instead of like social media influencer or manager or whatever.
Right, whatever she is.
Yeah.
I do have to say, when Ali Jo said this isn't the Zoe show, you know what? I heard this on the Bachelor last week, but I was feeling it anyway, but I won't give them props for saying it. Grant is a 0 to me. He's just a big 0.
I don't feel that way.
I'm not into him. Not interested in him. I don't feel like he has any personality. He's reminding me of, who's the guy everybody was all over? Not Colton, not Zach Shawcross. Everybody thought Zach was...
Nobody was excited about Zach. What are you talking about?
That's what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
I'm feeling that.
Grant's not that for me.
Well, Grant's a really... Yeah. He's such a hottie.
He's a hottie, but I also...
I think you're letting your gonads influence your decision here with whether he's a good bachelor or not.
No, but I don't think he's a dud. Ari was a dud. And
Ari was the worst.
But you know what also? Sometimes people can be good when they're vying for the person, right? But when they're the actual star, they can't necessarily carry it.
Yep.
And that's happened. Nick Viall.
Yeah.
Everyone hated him. Then he made a big comeback, and it was like, oh my God, I like him. And then he was the Bachelor. Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
And even Michelle was a little like that. She was vivacious when she was on Matt James' season. And then when she was the Bachelorette, something shifted. And I think she took it more like, oh my God, this is such a big life decision. And she wasn't as charismatic as she was when she was, I don't know, I hate using the word contestant, but when she was...
She's a cast member. That's what they are.
Okay, yes.
Right?
Yes.
They're
so for him, I don't know. I don't feel like he's gone deep with anybody yet, but I'm kind of okay with it because it's only the 3rd episode. Yeah. So I don't necessarily need to hear anything that deep yet.
The problem is I've been seeing some, like an interview with him on E! It was so awful. I mean, I don't know what they're supposed to say.
I haven't watched any of that. Yeah.
Well, they say the most banal things. Oh, I saw you went to Paris. Wasn't that nice? Yeah, Paris was a great city. I mean, I don't know what they're supposed to say. Right. But anyway, I don't know that he's a lead. He is really cute, so we'll see where it goes. Parisa plays Chubby Bunny. That is hard that's not easy to say. Which is apparently shoving Rice Krispie treats into your mouth. Should we do that?
Not just Rice Krispies. It can be marshmallows or whatever.
Should we try that next time?
Should we?
Yeah. I don't like a bunch of stuff in my mouth, though.
That's what she said.
Wasn't even a good one.
I don't know if would you do that on a date? A Chubby Bunny?
No, I wouldn't do that on a date. No, it's ridiculous. He said it was the most fun, but he's shoving shit in, but then he's like, and then you're looking at each other's gross stuff in your mouth, and then you have to spit it out. You can't chew it and swallow it. So you get it.
That's
the
what
producer, okay. The producer's going to bring you a bucket to spit it out. That's what, that's nobody said. But the romance is gone that early on. That's something that you do with your husband maybe later. I mean, not that I'm being that precious about what it is to like date somebody that early on. Plus, you and I think both have little mouth noise stuff.
I have a lot of...
You way more than me, actually, but I still don't like it when people chew with their mouth open.
Okay, nobody does. I have a repetitive noise thing, and mouth can be extra bad, and where it's not normal. It makes me feel violent. Violent.
Great.
So I was at the doctor's office, and this woman was smacking her gum. And she was probably 50. Like, way too old to be smacking her gum. And I'm looking around at everybody like, can you hear that? You must be annoyed, right? And everyone's just reading magazines. And I'm flabbergasted more at the women that they're not...
Yes. Like, was this a gynecology appointment?
Seething like I am. No, it was a mammogram.
A mammogram, yeah.
So I go up to the front and I said, I'll be waiting outside and I'm sure you know why. And they look at me, have no fucking idea why I need to wait outside. And to me, it's so painfully obvious. This woman's smacking her gum.
I will have margarita come out my nose. Okay, a moral of the story is I think we're not playing this game.
No.
All right. We start the 3rd section with Zoe getting the second martini.
Yes. She's a martini gal.
She is. I like that about her.
I respect that.
Yeah, I respect that hardcore. Okay, the girls start in on her about her dress being too short. Zoe hears people talking about her.
No, and then Serafina.
Okay, Serafina.
Allie Joe.
Serafina is actually the one that says the too short dress thing, right?
It was her or Allie Joe.
Kind of
it was one
bitchy
of them.
comment.
Yeah.
But then Zoe starts crying and says, why does everybody has to say they're so mean and they're so cruel? All they said was, it's the shortest dress I've ever seen.
Yeah, but they were talking smack. They were talking smack.
They didn't say much more.
No, but they were being shit.
All I'm saying is that I feel like the terms like mean, they're being mean girls, maybe. Cruel? I don't think they're being cruel.
No. Mean girls? Yes, because there's a group of them.
Yeah. Trying to intimidate her.
Talking about her. Yeah. Talking shit about her while she's over. And she's not that far away.
I just think talking shit, I might have walked back by and go, yeah, I do have the shortest dress. I also have the best legs here. I don't know. There's something about like when you can wear a dress that short confidently with Zoe can, like I wouldn't be worried about it.
Yeah.
But also, who was it that had Juliana sits down and it's like, girl, that is the tightest, shortest, like pot kettle black.
But I don't know if she was a
part
I don't know.
I don't know if she was either.
But that was a pretty short dress as well. And then the date where they showed up on the group date, there was some short stuff happening, and that's fine. But then don't call out the one short dress. They're all still pissed.
Yeah, that's true. But also,
they're all still pissed about that. But especially Allie Jo.
Yeah, where Allie Jo's wearing curtains on her arms.
Yes.
So it's like
sequin curtains.
Sequin curtains. It's too much.
I'm not liking Allie Jo. I'm not.
Oh, she's from Jersey. Did you know that?
Oh, she might have mentioned it. She might have mentioned
it a couple of times. So Zoe then admits she's competitive. I actually didn't notice that, but you keep recognizing this about her. She says to Grant, she has this like little one-on-one on him, and she's like, "Well, I'm not here to point out what other people are doing wrong. I'm struggling." And then Grant, of course, comforts her, and then he says, "Well, he doesn't say it this way, but I'm going to put a stop to it. It is never good when the Bachelor or the Bachelorette try to police the drama."
No. I will say one thing. So, also, she didn't need to go to Grant.
She did not.
Okay, but at least she didn't name names. Because often they do. And so I'm glad she didn't do that. It was a little bit redeeming. Mm-hmm. But why even tell him?
Why tell him?
It wasn't like this horrible thing. They were talking shit about her and made her feel picked on or whatever. But she didn't need to say anything, but she did, whatever. But at least she didn't name names, right? But yes, it never works out. But you know who didn't do that? Nick Viall. When people came to him and said, and cried about whatever, he did not try to police it. And I loved that.
There was so much drama when he was a cast member on, which season was he on? Nobody liked him at all. So maybe he just didn't want to get wrapped up in that. Yeah, he was on every single iteration of this Bachelor. One of the things that Grant says to her is, if being you offends other people, you shouldn't stop. I don't agree.
No.
If being you offends a lot of people, you should look at yourself.
You should look inward and figure out. I mean, if she's just wearing this dress, then no, fuck you. But if she's offending everybody and she's not getting along with everybody and you're the common denominator, well then, yeah, maybe it's you and it's not everybody else. With everybody in life, right? Absolutely. Yeah. So no, I don't agree with that.
They're mad at Zoe because she made the last group date about her when she interrupted and several times had to go in there and make things about her. So the second date when she didn't get time with him and that didn't happen, she's crying after the fact. So I can also understand why they're irritated. It's like, well, the first time around, you took him upstairs and then you interrupted Allie Jo. And this time...
After Allie Jo pushed her.
No one's a fan of Allie Jo here between the two of us. No. But that's why the women are upset. And instead of her being like, oh, I understand why they might be pissed at me because now I'm pouting that I didn't get time with him when I took a lot of time the last day. She wasn't
pouting because she didn't get time with him. She was pouting because she felt that she wasn't in her element and she didn't shine. Right?
Yes, but that's like life. Are you in your element every day and shining every day?
Yes.
Okay. Grant also says petty arguments are unnecessary. He's also wrong there. Does he know what show he's on? I feel like at the end of this section, he has started to show more personality. Oh, I'm not hating on him as much.
But you also didn't watch Jen's season.
I did watch it. What do you mean, this past one?
Yeah.
Did you watch Jen? We watched it together.
Oh. And we loved every minute together.
Every second, clearly. I don't know if we watched it together, but we talked about it. Of course we did.
I thought for some reason... I think we both swore we weren't going to.
We did.
As a bachelor, she might be a lovely person, but as a bachelorette, I did not agree with her being the person.
Yeah. But
I I like Grant. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to let him grow on me like a fungus.
Yeah.
The tongue kissing, when I start seeing the tongue go in and out, I can't.
Yeah.
It's like too much. Turn the camera the other way. I don't need to see all that.
So disgusted.
I'm not a prude. It's just gross.
No, you know what it is? Yeah, nobody wants to really see it. And it's the noise.
Yeah, it is that. Well, you don't like that for sure.
No.
What did you want to say about the diamond studs?
Okay. Whenever I see a guy wearing diamond studs, I think of someone at work that wore diamond studs to our Christmas party.
Do I know who this person is?
And God knows he's not watching, but I'm not going to say it anyways. It was a guy who showed up, who's married.
Del Bigtree.
No, he didn't make it that far long. He showed up with diamond studs at a Christmas party for work. I think he was getting a little flirty.
With you?
No, I wasn't at this Christmas party. I heard about this. Okay. This was the Christmas party at Chateau Marmont in the penthouse suite.
Peter met Christian Slater.
Yes.
Peter goes up to Christian Slater and is like, I loved you in whatever the Valentine movie was.
True Romance.
Okay. True Romance.
My all-time favorite movie. And I guess he was there, not Christian Slater, this person who was wearing 2 diamond studs. I don't even think they were real. And he was being flirty. And his wife apparently walked up and was like, don't be thinking just because you're wearing a couple of diamond earring studs that you're all that. And was
I can't wait to hear who this was.
It was really pissed. And we all laughed about it for a long time. Because it did kind of give him like this confidence that we never really seen at work. And it was this weird,
So he gives Parisa the rose.
For the Chubby Bunny
correct.
treats. Yep.
But then he starts in on a little lecture to the women.
Yes.
He says, people don't belittle each other, basically. Be kind to each other. And he leaves and Allie Joe's like, what is he even talking about? I don't even understand, because apparently in Jersey, they are not able to comprehend, have the most basic emotional intelligence about what she knew exactly what it was. We're supposed to believe that it's not her that had anything to do with it.
It never fares well. Again, have you never watched the show? Do you really think just being this person and this, that's going to do well for you? You're not going to end up with Grant when you are warring with this other woman.
Yeah.
It's not,
never
happened. Oh, maybe once. Devin last season.
Devin rubbed everyone the wrong way.
Yeah.
And look how that turned out. We end with Serafina saying, well, she was the one that started the whole thing with saying the thing about the dress. And saying that this is really scary, that she doesn't know what's going to happen. And it's like, well, I don't know, keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
So that's all I've got to say about that. So the women are crying hysterically. Alex, it's like her mother died.
Yes.
Serafina, I'm saying, Juliana, what that screams to me is guilt. You're afraid.
Yes. I mean, but interesting, Allie Joe is just didn't seem phased at all.
She's from New Jersey. I don't know if you know.
But Serafina and Alex, was she even part of that circle?
I didn't think she was.
I didn't think she was either. But I think she thinks it's because she's not being inclusive. Just the tears were it was crazy.
The hysteria. It was completely over the top. And they're continuing to talk about her, by the way.
Yes.
When they should just zip it.
Yes.
It's it's time to just shut it off. You don't need to talk to each other about it. Bury it. You don't know these women. You're not going to talk to half of them after you leave here. Just let it go. They say that they've been, or Alex says, I've been trying to be friends with her. We've been trying to include her. But all I can say is that it's just guilt crime because they must not have been trying that hard. Or Zoe just might be a little standoffish.
I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Really. Right? I mean, I think that Zoe is a little standoffish, so people are responding to that. So I feel like it's both sides.
Yeah. So we're going to see what that's all about later. But we then end up with Carolina getting in a limo for her one-on-one, meeting Grant at an airport, and we see, or actually not an airport, she's with a private jet.
Yes.
Now, I would assume that you would think this is a better date than the Beverly Center. Is this what I'm sensing?
Absolutely.
Do you think their caviar is cold on this private jet?
God, I hope so.
Grant says that they're going to Vegas. I've noticed that Carolina is wearing pants as a shirt. That's fine. They're doing this rap back and forth. They're drinking champagne out of tumblers, or Prosecco probably. It was big. But she goes, maybe we should just get married. Like, let's just stop in Vegas, which was like a funny thing to just, I guess, throw out there. But they get there, and their date is they're going to jump off the Strat, it's called?
Yeah.
800 feet in the air?
Yeah, but it wasn't a bungee jump. I wasn't that impressed with it, actually. At one point, they seemed like they were kind of slow.
I think they put the mountain that starts off slow, and then they let it go. I don't know. I don't think you're jumping off that thing.
I did a little jump off when we were in Punta Mita, and we did zip lining. It was but there wasn't. It was a free fall. There was no like slowly letting you down and then dropping. It was you just jumped and then bounced, but it wasn't a.
Where were you held? Were you held by your feet? Was it a bungee?
It was a harness.
But a harness like that. Like, I think the bungee being held by your feet is a terrible idea.
Oh, no. I would
like,
not
wouldn't
do.
that shake your brain?
Yeah, it seems like it. I wouldn't do. Chris has done that.
Chris has bungee jumped? We'll have to get him in
here.
here.
And I think they said something about doing that, but I didn't. But I don't think that looked that daredevilish because it seemed like a little bit of a slow. Like, they were kind of hanging there posing. I was like, it's not that scary.
Well, they also did it twice. And Grant, before he jumped off, he was like, this is the gamble of my life. But the first thing I thought is, it's not. It's that GameStop shit you were trading. That was actually the gamble of your life because things could have gone south. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'm kind of making that up. So then they go on a dinner date. He kisses her in the limo. He's clearly super into her. I mean, he kissed her after the bungee jumping too. Then they go and he goes, we're going to have dinner by a pool. And you and I just watched The Later Daters, and we know what happens when people have a date by the pool. It's awkward. Doesn't seem to go well. This went better.
He didn't wear a bad hat.
But they did take their shoes off, and I was like, why are they taking their shoes off? And this happens.
Bachelor in Paradise.
Bachelor in Paradise.
Very Bachelor in Paradise kind of date.
Somebody fell in.
Yes.
Which still makes me laugh.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. That was hilarious.
He had to have dinner.
Oh my God.
Being wet.
Who was that?
I don't remember.
It was somebody who was already a little.
Yeah. Yes. And then they fell in, and it was really horrible.
Oh my gosh.
And that was Bachelor in Paradise, because they keep going on that same date to that same place in Mexico.
Yes.
It's a little deeper, the water. I mean, they're like, imagine you're sitting down, you're shooting this. You have to sit there for hours with your feet in the water. That's super unpleasant. I wouldn't want to do that. They both say they feel really good about their date. Mm-hmm. Grant does refer to himself in the third person. He goes, I feel like I can just be Grant with you.
Oh.
Yeah. Did your vagina just dry up a little bit?
Yeah. Okay. That's not good.
No. Then he wants to know, is she ready for marriage? Can I just remind you what the show is about?
Yeah. No, he says, what makes you think you're ready for marriage? He didn't
ask. And the second time, he goes, what makes you think you're ready for marriage? And are you ready? And do you want to have this conversation? He's sort of like...
I like that, though. Because I felt like he said, why do you think you're ready for marriage? And then basically, are you ready? Or do you even want to have this conversation? Which I liked that.
But shouldn't they be having this conversation? They're all here to get married, ostensibly.
Yeah, but not everyone.
What if she was like, actually not really into marriage? I mean, what is he supposed to do? What is she supposed to say at this point? It can only be one thing.
Yeah, well, I think it depends on how genuine the answer is and what they have to say, why they think they are. It's like a job interview,
right.
In that way, right? So if I say something, so why do you want to work here? And they say, well, you're really close to the restaurant. I need the money. And I've had people say that. And I'm not going to really hire you. Right? So it's the same thing. What makes you, like, why don't you get married? Oh, if someone said, well, my friends really get married, blah, blah, blah. Like, I think it can be a little bit telling.
Yeah.
I mean, most people are just going to say what they think you want to hear, but some people are stupid, right? And they're just going to, I don't know, say something stupid, and you're going to know they're stupid.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. We get some tears because there always has to be some sort of sharing, some vulnerability here.
Wow,
Carolina says that she has a seizure disorder. She has epilepsy. And he really responds to that. He cries right back and says, I want to take care of you. And then he tells the camera in his confessional, I want to take care of her, which is a nice thing for him to say.
But let's say you had a moment when you heard that she said, I had a disability. We thought, okay.
But the problem is sometimes on these shows, we get people crying about stuff that's like, you won't even believe I've had so much hardship. I broke my ankle one time when I was in sixth grade. My parents are divorced.
Right.
That's the classic one. My parents got divorced when I was XYZ age.
So we were kind of bracing ourselves. Like,
we were,
okay,
yeah.
Okay. But then she actually
did have something to be crying over.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you want to cry over your parents' divorce, who am I to say?
Yeah, my parents.
But my mom got divorced so many times. I would be drowning in my tears.
People have cried over their parents remaining married, so you know.
And so anyway, they seem to have a great date. And I think we're going to probably end up back in the house after this. Let's see. So we start with the women sitting in the living room of the mansion. It was supposed to be Beverly's one-on-one, but she's sick. And they say that she's not coming back. And that
she's so sick. Yes.
It's unclear if it's never or if it's just for now.
They say she's not coming back.
Ever.
Yeah. She's not coming back to the house.
It's like mono? What would somebody be so sick?
I know, because if it was COVID, it's not that bad anymore. The return to work criteria, I would know.
Maybe their STD testing came back. And they're like, excuse us, Beverly.
Yeah, what?
They do have to be tested for STDs before they go on this. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, I heard that on The Bachelor one time. Is that there's a whole
physical part.
Yeah, a whole physical part of it. Yeah, it totally makes sense. Nobody wants to get in there and be like,
no, get crabs.
Well, you end up at the end and then it's like, oh God, we got to have a conversation about something. I've got a incurable STD.
Yeah.
But everyone's kind of holding their breath, the women, waiting to see what's going to happen. And I was wondering what's going to happen. I thought they would pick somebody for a one-on-one because it was already planned. But they go on a
or another group date.
And they do a second mini group date.
Only 3. And they had all already been on a group date.
Yes.
So I was really surprised by it. I thought it would be a one-on-one or another group date.
Yeah.
I was, or a pool party. And they were all there.
It's Serafina, Dina, and Latia. And they go to Vanderpump Dogs. And they meet Lisa Vanderpump, who Serafina says...
Yes.
Was a life goal for me.
Yeah.
She says. And then I thought...
Someone needs some better goals. Sorry, did I just steal your line?
No, that was not my line. That's hilarious.
Time to reevaluate your goals in your life.
But super cute date. I would absolutely want to be on this. They start with grooming. I even liked where the camera was placed with Dina and Grant because they were talking very naturally.
Yes.
When they were washing the dog, and that dog was absolutely adorable. Yes. And then he walks dogs with both Serafina and with Latia. Serafina, she seemed like closed off to you.
Yes.
I mean, she says that. She said it's hard for me.
But I do think she knows she was talking smack. About Zoe. So I think she's a little worried about that. And I think that's
shutting her
down more.
Shutting her down, yeah. Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah. It's not easy for me to open up because I was talking shit about Zoe.
And I'm not sure if he knows that it was me or not, right? She doesn't know that.
No, she doesn't know that.
Know if she said
But she doesn't know that he doesn't know that.
No.
Yeah.
She doesn't know a lot.
It's so complex. So she doesn't know all, but she did accomplish one of her life goals.
Yes.
So he walks the dog again with Latia, which he's clearly way more connected to than he is with the other women.
But they didn't show that.
They didn't.
So it was shocking. They come back from commercial. Or they go back to the house and they announce she's on a one-on-one.
Yes.
They did not show that happened or was going to.
No, and when Latia's gone, we see Carolina at the table who doesn't seem to understand the premise of the show because she says it's really tough.
She said that she almost wishes that she didn't even have the date because now she's so tortured that he immediately went on a date with 3 other women. Well, first of all, the 3 other women at one time. And also... people often make this mistake. You met these women how long ago? First of all, they're jealous because you already got the one-on-one and you were making out with them. You're opening up to these women and saying shit you should not be saying.
Not that time, not that early, not ever.
Really? No. I see them running around with journals. So write that in your journal. Don't tell a bunch of women that you just met.
Talk to your producer friends. They all have producers that they're connected to.
Yeah. Or the producer friend said, hey, why don't you talk to the group about that?
Right.
Because they want the drama.
Right. Well, Chloe doesn't hesitate to say some of us would kill for this date. A little over the top, but some of us would like literally kill for this date, and she's saying how she didn't want it. Now, I think they're overreacting a little bit. I understand what Carolina's saying.
Yeah.
She's starting to spiral, as you said.
Yes.
Those are your words. And she's having a lot of anxiety. So we then see that apparently Latia got extra time with him at the end, which we didn't know about.
Nope.
Like you said, before the last commercial break. This is the thing. We've learned, because we did a little research, and what she says about her family when they sit down and have this date was that her grandparents or aunt and uncle or extended family took her in when her family was in Hawaii after her father passed away. Now she goes to Utah.
Well, they all moved to Salt Lake. She talked about that
in her
episode 1.
And she talked about her faith and how religious
Mormon.
she is. Mm-hmm. There's no other thing that she is. I don't think she says she's a Mormon in it.
Yes, it's brought up in episode 1.
She says she's a Mormon?
Yeah.
I was just like, she's religious and she's in Utah, so she must be a Mormon.
No, it's said.
So I'm confused by this because she said her faith is really important to her. I didn't know that as a Mormon you could date outside of being a Mormon.
You can, but you can't get married.
Wouldn't that
in the Mormon temple?
Wouldn't you think that would be important to someone who's so religious and that to her family? So. But I guess everyone has allowed her to go on the show. They haven't talked about religion yet. As far as we know.
Right.
In the edit, they haven't talked about religion. And maybe it's because of my past and how religious I was, like, so long ago. But still.
So crazy.
It's so crazy. I mean, it is nuts balls. But that would have been the most important thing I would have said to somebody was, do we share this faith? And are we going to go to church? Because there would have been no continuing the relationship without that. So how's Latia...
Were you that religious?
I was that religious. I was a born again Christian. Oh, yeah. I was evangelical. I would go to Six Flags and try to convert people.
No!
Yeah.
How do I not know that?
Yeah.
At what age?
Oh, 17, 18, whatever. Yeah, I was young. But even my first year in college, I was very, very, I was very judgmental about other people. People were drinking. I'd never had an alcoholic drink. I remember my very close friends drinking on the quad on Easter Sunday and me looking at my window and being like, heathens, you're going to hell because you're having alcohol on the Lord's Day. Like, yeah.
And so was your mom?
No. My mom now says she's really a Christian, but she didn't really raise us that way. My grandparents were super religious.
Wow.
Yeah, but I got converted by a nurse when I had cancer in the hospital. Yeah, because they get you at a real vulnerable time.
Yeah, just where a lot of times Scientology hit college students their freshman year.
Oh, that's a rough time.
They have all these front groups.
Oh, like the student center for
blah, 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 blah. And so these kids go and they're away from their family for the first time, and they get them.
That's where they get them.
That's where they get them. That's crazy. I feel like I know you've mentioned that lightly, but I didn't realize to the degree. That's crazy.
Yeah, when it became kind of culty, my parents pulled me out of this kind of semi-cult that I got in. You never had to confess all of my sexual sins in front of a group of people.
You did?
Yeah, I mean, I was
that would take a while.
I was only 17, but
you're still here today.
There were lots of them. Yeah, crazy.
Fascinating.
I know religions are a weird thing.
Wow.
But it was so important to me, and if it's as important to Latia as she says, I'm expecting them to sit down and have a conversation about it. He talks about his dad, but he also says, back to our point earlier, that his dad had a very successful business, and it seems like his mom took over. I couldn't tell if that was the family or the business.
Right.
So maybe we'll find out more about that. He says something which you had a pretty, I don't know, strong reaction, but you had a reaction to him saying that he didn't get any affection from his mom. So he's seeking that.
Yeah. That breaks my heart.
I know.
Yeah.
How would you feel if, your son were on a show and he was like...
I would be devastated.
Would you, if you heard that, would you just be like, oh my God?
I would be devastated, but that's not true.
I know that's not true. Of course not.
I mean, we tell each other we love each other.
Oh, you said it so much tonight, I almost threw up in the middle of my mouth.
Did you?
No.
I thought I heard you gagging.
So then Latia gets to call her mom.
Yeah.
Super sweet.
That was very sweet.
Very sweet.
And I thought what he said to her mom, was really sweet and genuine.
Yeah.
And I just think he's a proper, nice guy.
Yeah. Can I make a bad Mormon joke?
Please.
If Grant marries Latia and becomes a Mormon, he can just date all of them and marry all of them. He doesn't have to choose. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe the Mormons were like, actually, it's a perfect show.
It's crazy.
It's a polygamous show.
So, Chris...
Yes.
They moved around, but part of that was in Utah. And when he went to school there, kids weren't allowed to go to his house because he wasn't Mormon.
That's how serious it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and he wasn't always invited over to other kids' house because he wasn't Mormon.
And he certainly wasn't going to marry a Mormon.
No, and his father had good friends that were polygamist and still are.
Yeah. Is there a secret wife around here? I should be.
I don't know. Sometimes I think, maybe that wouldn't be such a bad thing. Go live with someone else Monday through Wednesday.
Perfect. So then we get to the drama at the end of the session. So Rose tells Carolina in the middle of allegedly, in the middle of her spiral that Grant said when he was dancing with Carolina at that event that he was thinking about Rose.
That he told Rose that.
Yes, correct.
Can we talk about how when everyone was the other sob fest, which there's been so many, that Alex, who brought the llama, Linda, she was hugging a plushie of a llama.
I did not notice that.
Oh, you didn't notice that?
No.
Yeah, she had a.
Does she have a llama thing?
Yeah. Yes, she did.
Oh.
Yeah, she's made a commitment to the llama.
She's committed.
It might not be Grant, but she's made a commitment to the llama.
Okay, so we come back. Latia recounts her date. She's like, we had a city hall dinner. There was a string quartet. And then you go, the women don't want to hear that.
No. I always wonder because they say, the recap. And quite often they don't want to hear it like Zoe.
No, Zoe doesn't want to hear it. No one wants to hear it. Mm-mm. Carolina is already in, I'm sorry.
Spiraling.
Wait, Chloe said she's in a tornado of anxiety.
Yes, later on.
What a great phrase that was. Yeah, yes. Way towards the end, but it's happening. It's starting here.
It started.
Because of Rose saying the thing that she said about Grant telling her that all the stuff that we just mentioned.
Right.
Do you want to say something about Alex?
What is it with these young kids? They have pimples and they put on those star pimple patches.
Yeah.
Okay, so she has on two. A purple one that's half on her leg.
Like hanging. It's totally hanging.
And a green one. At first I was like, is there some kind of disco light on her?
I thought so too.
What is going on? And then I think you realized they were pimple patches. But I've seen...
Well, you rewound it 4 times.
Yes, I did. Because I see people out in public wearing those. And I guess it's great to be able to embrace yourself and be like, I have a pimple and who can... But is the star covering it better than just not wearing a patch?
Well, I guess it lessens the time of the pimple. And so if somebody's going to stare at your pimple, they may as well be staring at a patch. No, No, you and I are old school. Wear your pimple with pride.
Pop it, have a scab, and cover it up with makeup.
And it's just crusty with the
yes.
Okay, this is too many dates. I'm exhausted, honestly. Like we're getting to the point now where I'm like, why is this show still going on? It is 3 full dates, but then Latia has basically her own date. That's just too many.
That's why he did the 3, so he knew he could pull her.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
For like a little mini one-on-one.
Right. But it wasn't an actual one-on-one. So he could take her on a one-on-one later.
One. Yeah.
So Grant goes to Mormon prom, meaning he's taking 13 dates to the prom. And we get our golden bachelors, which I was surprised to see them come in. I thought, please don't bring in children.
Yeah.
I don't want to see.
That was the first thing you said.
You like children on a bachelor date. I don't. So it's Gary, Keith, Jack, and Jonathan.
But not on a prom date.
No, a prom date would be totally inappropriate.
Yes.
Everyone dances except Jack, who
was grilling the burgers.
Yes.
And Jonathan didn't wear his silver lame or gold lame.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Dina gives him a promposal. You didn't have a promposal.
They're stupid.
They're really stupid.
Yeah, we didn't do that in my age, in my era. You got asked to prom. There was no promposal.
No, that's ridiculous.
This guy asked me that never talked to me. Ever. Not once did he ever talk to me. And he walked up and he asked me to go to prom and I just stood there. And he had to ask me twice. because I just stood there.
Were you like, who are you?
No, I knew who he was.
Yeah.
I was in shock because I didn't think he knew who I was. And so he had to ask me again. Then I said yes. And then I talked to a friend, a friend who was dating a friend of his. And I said, did that really happen? You know? And she's like, yes, I knew he was going to ask you. I was so excited because I guess he knew of me, but we never talked.
Did you go?
Yes.
Was it fun?
Okay, we had a blast, and then you know what? He never talked to me again.
It was what we talked about with the later daters.
Yeah.
It burned out too fast.
No,
it's a whole.
Okay. That's like a whole podcast on its own.
Oh my God. We sit with Dina. It is the worst promposal because it's just 4 balloons.
Yeah,
that spell out
and the
prom.
R's flipped.
Yeah. Dina says, I have a great salary and with great perks, a great job. And then Grant says, and she travels a lot. Well, because he says he's never dated a woman who has been super success driven, which I thought that seems kind of weird for Grant. It seems like he would be drawn to that because he seems to be. But he also says, look, I'm really successful. You're really successful. And by success, I think we can put money in there. Like they've been successful with money. But he says he knows when enough is enough.
Yeah.
That means he's got plenty of money. By the way, I'm not at enough is enough yet. Are you? If Grant at enough is enough?
Enough is of working.
No, enough is enough of working. There's not enough money there. But I guess it seems like Grant is.
Yeah? Yes, but there are times even for me I have to go, okay, I have to find a little bit of balance. Not because I'm thriving with money, but just enough already.
Yeah, but you're also balancing already a marriage with a kid and a family. Like he's just a single dude.
Yeah, that's true.
And
that's
so
true.
when he says I have to know enough is enough, I took that to mean when this money is enough and now I have to go on vacation.
I totally agree.
We get a little superlatives, little mini date with Alex. She kisses him with loads of red lipstick. I don't understand the lipstick thing. She had taken the pimple stars off. Zoe pulls him aside and says that she wants to put the drama behind her and she wants to do some slow dancing because apparently she said she was a nerd and she didn't have a prom date either. So she's with them, which was kind of cute. But how are you feeling about their connection?
I feel like it's physical. I don't feel like it goes much deeper. Oh, so Carolina is still spiraling.
Correct. Every time they cut to Carolina, the music is like out of Jaws.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 you know, dun, dun, or like a horror film.
Yes.
She says, and I wrote this down because I thought it was kind of meaningful. Maybe I don't mean anything to this guy. I know I have a rose, but I'm just about to leave.
And she did air quotes.
She did. She said, I'm safe.
I'm safe, air quotes.
And with air quotes.
Yeah.
So then she goes to confront Grant and she tells him about the rose thing. He says, I'm not here to play games. And he wants to know who it is.
And he guesses a few women.
Like but he's like, don't bring this up unless you're going to take it through to its conclusion, which is you name a name. Or like, don't bother. And then she backs way off. She goes, no, it's not any of those women and I don't want to make this a thing. Why did she bring it up?
I hate it when people do that. You rang the bell.
Yes.
You rang the bell. You can't unring it.
No, it's wrong.
You made it a thing.
And she should just say who it is instead. Yeah. Now she's like, no, I'm not going to. And then you have to figure out who it is. Or she told him because then he immediately goes to pull Rose.
Well, he says it's from a date. It's either Latia, Bailey. What date was that?
Oh, it was from the date where they danced and he did the rap on the stage and the girls put together.
But there was a lot more of them than those few.
There were 10 of them. There were 10 of them on that date. So he might have sent some of them home.
And they must have edited some of the names that he guessed. Because he didn't name all the women that were on that date.
Yeah.
And he was able to say, well, then there's only one person, Rose. So he pulls Rose.
Yeah, so he confronts Rose and he says, did you say this? And she goes, well, did you see the look on her face? Mm-hmm. Long pause. She knew she was busted. And she says, I thought that was something that I heard you say. So she's admitting that she lied at this point. And I'm like, what is going on? She says her intention was not to cause waves, but then she goes and she does this.
Well, it's like at least she didn't deny it. At least she wasn't a complete asshole and pretend she didn't say it. At least she said, I thought you did, which I say bullshit.
Yeah.
Because I believe him. He seemed pretty adamant
What she said exactly was that she said, Carolina and I were talking in private in the bedroom, sitting on the floor. And I was like, girl, you were in a house. Everybody's mic'd. There's cameras everywhere. There is no privacy. It might have been when the crew went home.
And you barely know her.
And you don't know her. And you know she's spiraling. So why are you saying this? And what she says was, well, things are kind of competitive right now. I didn't realize this was going to happen.
Bring it up. Yeah.
And then they pull Rose aside in like a confessional. And Rose says, well, I wasn't expecting Carolina to bring it up to Grant. So she thought she was going to get away with this nastiness. That was cruel. A little, only because emotionally Carolina was already off the fucking deep end. And, and Rose was just like, oh, you're almost there. Let me just push you over. I don't know. It didn't feel very good at all.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good.
Then, of course, we end on Allie Jo saying Carolina has a rose, and that really stings for her. Again, I don't know if she's seen the show. And that she hasn't had any time with Grant, and she's just been in hair and makeup too long. And it's like, then go take it off.
Yeah.
Go away.
Do you watch a show?
God, please let her get sent home.
I don't like her.
And then this other woman comes on the screen. I guess I ask you every time, who is this person?
Oh, so every single time Natalie's on, you go, who's that? Every single time. When we were talking about who was the woman with the kids on the basketball date? Natalie. Every single time she comes on, oh, who's that? Like, you've never seen her.
Do you know what's funny is when you said it this time, and I almost said, I didn't know there was anyone on this show named Natalie. Because you said but you say I say this every time. I have no recollection of this. Okay. Okay, so finally we made it to the rose ceremony. I did not think we were going to get a rose ceremony.
No.
It seemed like too long already. I'm exhausted. I've been over at your house since like 6:30. We're going on, many hours here. It's every moment's been wonderful.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Bailey, Chloe, and Allie Jo get sent home, so he keeps Rose. Were you surprised?
No, I think I called it, right? I said producer's pick.
Yeah.
I have a feeling the producers are going to have him keep her around, but I was really surprised Allie Jo went home.
Why? Because she keeps it so real?
Yeah.
Boy, the Jersey girl keeps it real.
Because I thought for sure she would end up on a 2-on-1 date. Mm-hmm. And I thought she would also be producer's pick for the
drama.
For the drama. Not that I thought they had some kind of connection or like, you forget who Natalie is.
I can't remember Alicia.
How to pronounce her name, which half the stuff I can't do that. But anyways, I was surprised that Bailey went home and Allie Jo. Bailey was kind of growing on me.
I thought Chloe was going to stick around because I just think she's gorgeous. I think she's going to end up on Paradise. You think Bailey's going to end up on Paradise?
Absolutely.
The truth is, I think probably Allie Jo is the one out of the three of those that's going to go on Paradise.
I think all three of them will be on there.
I can't take, if I hear one more woman, Jersey, man, whoever, when they say rude things and they're being super obnoxious, they say they're keeping it real. Yeah. Didn't Tyra Banks say something one time on America's Next Top Model? You remember this where she goes, being real does not mean speaking every thought that comes into your mind.
Yes.
Like, that is not being real. No. That's just being an asshole.
So, how are you feeling about Grant now?
Oh, I like him a lot more after this episode. Actually, this episode was a lot more fun. You and I, when we did the first two, were like, should we keep doing this? The Later Daters was so much more fun. I felt so much more connected to them.
But I think that's true always because there are so many more people.
I guess they interviewed, I have not listened to it, Grant on The Bachelor. They did an interview with him last week. And what they said about him is he is just, his cards are close to the chest. He says nothing. Everything is a PR soundbite. I haven't listened to it yet, but I think I won't, actually. He can't say anything at this point. What do they want him to say?
Yeah.
It's like, he's going to be like, had a good time. All the girls were really good. Met some great thing. My wife, my person. He's going to, took a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else is he going to say?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe I'll go back and listen to it. So that's the end of E3.
Yeah. And the end of this evening. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.